Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Hales and I make videos about the books that I'm reading. Today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up, and I am super excited to talk about some of these books because they were all super highly rated. I didn't finish a book this month until the 12th, which was a little like... I can't think of the word. I just really felt like I was never gonna finish a book. The first book that I finished this month, and then the second and third were all audiobooks. So I didn't physically finish reading a book until today. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with audiobooks, and I listen to a lot of them. But I have really been enjoying reading on my Kindle, and I've really been enjoying reading with my eyes. So I, to be honest, have to kind of scale back my phone usage. I was getting in bed and then being on my phone for like 3 hours playing games and just flipping through social media and really letting the ADHD take control of that, and I cannot keep doing that. So last night I started putting my phone away a lot earlier, and I read and I finished Death at Morning House, which was super exciting. And I'm so excited to talk about that, but I'm going to go through the 3 audiobooks that I listened to in the month of November and talk about them before I dive into all the stuff about Death at Morning House. So the first book that I finished this month was the second Zodiac Academy book, Ruthless Fae. I gave that a 4-star, and I thought that it was really good. I had a really hard time getting through the first one. I tried to physically read it as much as I could. I really wanted to be physically reading at the time, and I just couldn't get through it. So when it came to the second one, I did start reading it on Kindle Unlimited, but I ended up buying the audiobook and listening to that. And to be honest, I really do like listening to fantasy audiobooks. I think that what I want to be doing more of is like, when I want to read fantasy, I want to listen to the audiobook and play a game and like really make sure that my mind is engaged. I focus better when I'm doing something. So if I'm playing like Candy Crush or something like that, then I am kind of like, I'll pay attention more, and it's in my brain, it triggers it. So like I'll open whatever game I was playing when I was listening to a specific audiobook, and then my brain is like, okay, but remember we were listening to this last time you played, and then you listened to this and this. So that's kind of been how I've been listening to Zodiac Academy. I did start the third book as well. But with the second, I really liked the way all of the plots had started to come together. I liked that Darcy and Tori were starting to get more, I guess, like ingrained, I guess is the word, with the celestial heirs. Is that what, are they the celestial heirs? I get the heirs and the Vegas. They're like the way that they're starting to get engulfed into the celestial heirs group and starting to make connections there. I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying how the overall plot is starting to advance and develop, because one of my issues with The Awakening was that it was quite slow, for me at least. I didn't like the pacing. I know there was a lot to be put into the first book, so there was a lot to get through that you needed to know, but I felt like there could be a little bit more. And I didn't have that issue as much with the second book, Ruthless Fae. I thought that it was developed a lot better. So, and then I'm going to talk about the next two together because they are part of that Amazon winter novella series that a bunch of authors did all together. They were all like holiday novella, rom-com, happily ever after kind of things. So I read Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood, and I read Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey. Like, had to remember what they were called. I wrote down all of my notes and then I closed my computer. So I don't actually have those with me right now because it needs to charge. But I really enjoyed those. I gave Cruel Winter with You a 5-star. It was so good. And I gave Merry Ever After 4 stars. There were a couple of things in Merry Ever After that I just didn't like. It was a single mom trope, which is fine. That's just fine. But she didn't have anyone in town to like watch the kid, which again is fine. Hustle, make it happen, whatever. But I don't want to be thinking about the baby during a sex scene, okay? I don't want to, within a couple of paragraphs, know that like the baby has been sat down. I think that it was put on the bed. Was it a girl? I don't even remember. But I think that they put the baby to bed in his room. And then they're just fucking in the living room, like on the floor or something. I understand that parents need to get it on whenever they can, wherever they can. But when it comes to a written sex scene, I don't want the child and then the sex scene to be that close together. Frankly, I don't want the sex and the child to be that close together physically either. But I just didn't like that my brain was still like, okay, well, the baby is in the other room and the baby's going to start crying. And like, do you have a baby monitor? You're just fucking on the floor now. So I didn't like that. The story itself was good. It felt a little insta-lovey, which I know with novellas, that's kind of the point. There's only so much that you can do in 90 pages. So I never rate novellas lower for being more insta-love unless it's like really bad. There was one I read a couple months ago where it was like this billionaire falls in love with like the sister of his employee or the best friend of an employee or something. And there's a gala and he like chases her out of this gala. They've never met before. And he's immediately like, you're mine. You're my mate. Bro, you're a billionaire. I wasn't aware that you're a werewolf as well. It was incredibly creepy and cringy. So that's the kind of thing that I will rate low on a novella. But with Merry Ever After, I wasn't going to rate that super low just because it felt insta-lovey. Because there's only so much you can do. I am writing a novella right now, so I get it. It comes out of nowhere, and then you're like, oh shit, you kind of have to deal with that. But yeah, my brain's still being occupied by like, baby, sex scene. I needed a little bit more. I don't even care if it was fluff. I don't care if it was like gratuitous description of the wall. I don't care. I need these 2 points to be separated a little bit more. So that did get it knocked down a star. I thought it was really cute, and I liked the ending, the epilogue, the happily ever after was really nice. But the one that I really liked was Cruel Winter with You. I, at this point, should just accept that Ali Hazelwood is an auto-buy 5-star author for me. I have loved everything she's done that I have read. And this was a snowed-in trope. So she gets to the house. They're gonna spend Christmas together. She came over, I think, to see if he wanted to spend Christmas with her family. And they get snowed in, and there are flashbacks to when they were kids, like teenagers, and they're in high school, and he had a huge crush on her, And she was like, no, you're like 2 years younger than your sister and I. We're not gonna date. You don't have a crush on me. You're a child. And then it's like 10, 15 years later, and he's like, yeah, no, I was always in love with you, so are you gonna give me a chance? And it goes from there. It's like second chance, romance, snowed in, forced proximity, so good. It was hitting all of my buzzwords, and it got a 5-star easily. This is the one that I wanted to talk about so much, though. If you have read Death at Morning House, sound off in the comments or message me on Instagram, because I need to scream about it, and I don't want to go into spoilers in the wrap-up, even though I would really like to talk about it. In, I want to say April or May, I read The Reappearance of Rachel Price. And I had been waiting for that book to come out, and I was obsessed, and it triggered me into a YA mystery thriller binge, and I read all of the Naturals, all of the Inheritance Games. I read Jennifer Lynn Barnes's other series, The Fixer. I started rereading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I started reading the next Truly Devious books, the 2 that are like the standalones. I started on those. And I was waiting for Death at Morning House. And then July kind of turned my entire life upside down. And then I got sick. And then I was better for a little while. And then I got sick again. So I was not reading as much. And I didn't want to read Death at Morning House while I felt so bad, because I was seriously anticipating it. I knew that it was going to be a 5-star read because the description was everything I wanted out of a mystery. And I was not let down, like, at all. Well, that's not technically true. I was a little let down at the end by who the main character ends up dating. If you've read it, I would like to know your opinion on that too, because I feel like we got a lot more time with the character that I wanted her to be with versus the character she ends up with. I feel like there was more depth to one relationship than the other. So it's fine. I like both couples. I was a little disappointed, but then so was the other character. So I guess we're in the same boat. But Death at Morning House is by Maureen Johnson, who wrote the Truly Devious series. And it's about a girl named Marlo who burns down a house, and because of this, somehow ends up getting a job to go and lead tours at Morning House. She needs to get away for a little while because everybody is talking to her and about her about the fire that was not intentionally set. It was a freak accident, and she just needs to get away. So she goes to this house, and it had been the site of a couple of deaths in the 30s. I believe it was the 30s. I don't think it was the 40s, but I kind of feel like it might have been. No, it was the 30s. I have to convince myself of this. Yes, I like 37 or 34 or something. But she goes and she meets everybody, and she starts learning about what happened in the house in the 30s when the 2 kids died. And there came a point when I was like, is this about to go paranormal? Luckily it did not, because I'm not a huge fan of paranormal thrillers, paranormal mystery, anything like that. They're not my favorite. And I was reading, I think, Simone St. James and Riley Sager last year. And 2 of those books ended up being paranormal, and I was so unhappy. Because as I was reading, I was like, oh, it's going to happen like this. Like, I liked my ending a little bit better. Sorry, I liked my ending in my head a little bit better, what I thought was going to happen. But I am a pretty big paranormal thriller hater, and I know that about myself, so I do need to check descriptions and tags a little bit better. But she starts to unravel a new mystery on the island, and I still don't quite understand how it was even like realized that this was a mystery and what happened. I guess aside from just people thought that maybe the accident wasn't an accident. But I don't totally remember how we got there. And then the woman that she's supposed to be working for goes missing, and they're like, oh my God, is she dead? Do we need to figure out this mystery? Because what else are 16-year-olds on an island going to do but solve a mystery that is 100 years old, and a mystery that might be unfolding right in front of their faces, you know? The ending was not what I was expecting, but it was also not bad. Because a lot of times when there's like a shock twist like this, that you're like, well, that wasn't even kind of a main player in the game, you're like, why is this important? But I really liked how it was done. Because it wasn't that the character wasn't involved, they just weren't as prominent. But then you read this last bit and you see everything from their perspective and everything that they saw, and it put everything, like all the puzzle pieces just clicking into place, and it was amazing. I don't think that I can say enough good things about Death at Morning House. I am just so happy with the way that my reading month went. 2 4 stars and 2 5 stars is fantastic. I only have a few days left until I have to, well, I don't have to, but until the next, I can never remember what the series name is, but it's Jagger Cole's next book, Emperor of Lust. That comes out on the 5th, so I need to finish the second book, and hopefully we'll see both of those in my December wrap-up. I didn't mention that in my TBR, but I am hopeful. But as for now, those were the books that I read in November, and that was my November wrap-up, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you've read any of these, you liked them or didn't, drop that information in the comments. I would love to discuss. If you did, I would love to squeal about them with you, and if you didn't, I'd love to know why. But yeah, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff you know how to do, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!